Hey, this is Graham here. Today in this video I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks that I have found over my rocketing, as you might say, journey. I like to build home-built rockets. As you can see, here's one of my home-built rockets. This is completely home-built, right from the nose cone to the fins, all home-built. So in this video I'm just going to go over tips and tricks that I have found from making rockets that just make it a bit easier. In this video, the tricks I'm going to be going over is I like to put the neck of a bottle on the end of the rocket, right where the motor mount is, and I'll explain why during that part. I also like to do some cool shock cord tricks, so I'll show you with that. And I have a way of putting on my fins and aligning them, and I will show that. I have seen it before, but I just thought I'd mention it. It's a good trick. I'm not going to go into, sadly, my nose cone, but it's 3D printed. If you're interested, check out 3D printing. I was using Tinkercad. It's a very simple 3D printing website. You can design your own shapes, but I just use shapes that were already made, and then you can adjust the sizes. This one is made out of a few. This top piece is 2. There's in Tinkercad there's solids and holes, so it's a solid on the outside and a hole on the inside, so it's hollow. Same with this bottom piece. So if you're interested with 3D printing, go check that out. But now we're going to go into those techniques. Alright, so this is what I call the bottleneck trick. So if you have a bottle, right here I've got one, and you glue it to the end of your motor mount, what you usually get is something like this. And what the real significance of this is so that rocket motors have an ejection charge, and when it goes, it pops the parachute out, which is great. But if the motor's not in and tight, well, it doesn't have to be super tight, but if it's not being held in from coming back out, the motor will just come out and the parachute won't come out. So you want that not to happen. So what I do is I take a little piece of a bottle. So if I've got this will only work for sizes A, B, and C of rocket motors. Just take a little bit, glue it on. But if you have a bigger one, like an E or a D, those will need like an iced tea bottle size. Anyway, just as I said before, just glue it to your motor mount. So I've got this other rocket, I'm just working on it. So I've got a cap with a little hole, not too big that the motor will slide out, but not like a tiny little hole that will melt. So this is like a perfect size. So if I take the cap off, get my rocket motor, this is a E, just a shell, and then put it in. There we go. In it goes, and then just screw it on. Gives it a nice, clean, finished look, and just helps keep that rocket motor in there. Alright, so in this part of the video, I'm doing some alignment tricks. So for this, it's just for aligning your fins and for making sure they're placed evenly around the tube, and also so they're straight. So what you'll need for this, you'll need a pencil, you'll need a protractor, you'll need something that, well, this is optional, but it's helpful. This is just something like a right edge, has to have 2 longer sides. I'm just using a piece of wood, and then if you don't have that, you could use a ruler, but it just doesn't work as well. And there's one part that I need this for, and I'll show you what that is, that you can't really do with a ruler, but you can, but it's hard. So those are most of the things. I'll also need a door frame, and also forgot to mention a piece of paper and your rocket. So first of all, take the rocket. We're gonna trace it on the paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so I've got my circle traced out. It's not perfect, so this trick with the block may not quite work, but we'll find out. If it's not, you can kind of eyeball it. The fins don't have to be spaced perfectly, but what I'm going to use this for is I'll put it up against one of the edges, line it up as best as I can, and draw a line from the edge down where it intersects the circle. Draw 2 of those, right up against the edge. So as you can see, I've got a little triangle. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to attach these 2 together where it intersects the circle. So I've got one that goes through the center, and then you're going to want to do that again in a different place, and then attach those 2 lines, and where it crosses, that's the center. So mine's a little off, so I will have to I had to move it a little bit, as I can see just from eyeballing it, but I've got the center pretty well. So now what you can do is either erase all the lines or just use a different color pen over top. So I'm just going to do it with the pen now. Alright, so I've got a pen. Now what I'm going to do, this is where the protractor comes in. And I have a ruler. This is a bit easier than using that block of wood. So my ruler, here it is, just give me one sec. So I got my ruler. Now what I'm going to do is, with your ruler from that center, just on one side, draw a straight line out. You want to make it go out of the circle. So keep going, nice and long. And then you're going to take the protractor and right where that little center hole is, line it up with the very center of your, line that you just drew. So like the tip of that, and then the center of your circle, and then put that at 0 degrees. And then I'm putting 3 fins on this, so I'll be marking this at 120 degrees now. So line that up, 120 degrees, and then I'm going to draw, sorry you can't see that, I'm just going to draw a line from the center to this point right here. Alright, so I have a line now, so now I'm just going to go ahead and just do the same thing for the line that comes out over here. Alright, so now that you've got these lines all done, I'm going to go ahead and do this with pencil. Just lightly at first, line your rocket up with the circle that you traced. Make sure it's all on there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but do the best job you can. Then mark on each side where that line comes out of the circle. Do each 3 sides. And then the other side right there. Oh, just give me a sec, I messed up. Alright, all lined up. So I've got just a little mark, doesn't have to be big, right there. So, got that lined up, and now we're going to go ahead and do what I call the door frame trick. Alright, so now we're at the door frame, and so I've got my rocket all set up. You'll want to do this before you put the motor mount on. So here's the little mark I made. So I'm just going to line it up with the door frame, put the pencil on the trim, just line that up, and then I'm just going to go down. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the same to the other side. I already did that one, but same to this side. Line that up on the, keep it on the trim, and just go down like that. And that'll just ensure that you've got a nice straight line. So go ahead and do that, and then just glue your fins along that line. So this is the door frame trick. Alright, so in this part I'm going to be showing you what I call the elastic band shock cord. So you'll need like some elastic bands. I'm using 2 for this. These will work for a small to medium sized rocket. And then I just have a piece of string. I don't use fireproof string. I just make sure I pull my string out and keep it tight, and then put some recovery wadding in, and I have never had any problems with them burning. So first what I'm going to do is take one elastic band, take the other elastic band, put one elastic band through like this, and then take that elastic band that's through it and put it through itself. And then pull tight, and now these elastic bands are together, and the only way for them to come apart is really just for them to snap. So now that I have that, I have my string, and with this part, you might want to have somebody that can help you, or that. But this, in this part, I'm just gonna take my string. I'm gonna tie it to like one piece in the middle. So you can just even take the string like this, put it through itself, and you can always add more knots after. Just right now, 1 knot will do. So it's just a short piece for a demo, but of course you'd want to have a longer piece for your actual rocket. So tie it onto one piece, and so you got it on, and then you're gonna sorry, I should have moved it in front of the camera, and then you're gonna want to stretch it, not like almost as far as it'll go, without snapping or anything. So if you can see, it's right here. So stretch out your string too. Make sure your string is stretched out, and then see that point where it stretches, like it'll stretch more, but I don't want to overstretch it. So that's about good. So you can let go of the elastic and then hold it with your finger, and I'll take this little piece and just take a little like loop like this, like I did before, put it through, tie it, and what this does is, in case the elastic band breaks, or if it gets old, or if it melts, or I don't know, but I just like to do this just in case something happens. So now that I have my elastic band, I have a little loop. I probably could have put more, but so it'll stretch, but it won't overstretch and snap. And if it melts or anything, it'll be up against that. So I'll just put another knot in it, and yeah, this is how I make my shock cords. And of course, one end will go to the parachute. Oh, here it is. One end to the parachute, and the other end will go to my. What I do is I attach them to my motor mount. Just wrap it around part that the motor goes in, and then put a little glue, and then just let it come in between the centering ring and the body, and then put a little more glue, and you're good to go. The strength of that will be no problem. Alright, thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned. I've got lots of cool videos coming out. I'm building this 2-meter glider, and so that'll be coming out soon, that video. I'm pretty much all done, so I just gotta finish up some painting technique, the paint a bit, and improve my flying a bit, so I'm just working on that. But if you're interested in building the rockets scratch build, as I do, there's lots of other videos on the internet. I would suggest the King of Random's randomizer rocket. So if you're looking for something that's completely home built with supplies you can find around your house, look at that. It looks really cool, and it's just really neat what he uses. So if you want to check that out, and in the future I may be making a video on how to make the rockets, but in this video it's just the tips and tricks. And just remember, when you're making your rockets, that if you mess up, that's okay. I've had some rockets, actually, these faulty E-motors, they're really old. I had them, they actually blew up and destroyed my rockets, like this one right here. This one, it actually blew part of it apart, so I'm just working on restoring it. I had a package, the whole pack was defective, and it blew up a few rockets. So sometimes that happens. I had this other rocket that I fired it, and it went so fast and so high. It was a tiny little rocket, probably about this big on a C. It went so fast, just whoosh, and it was gone. And we actually never saw it come down. So I don't know. I think it went above the clouds and pretty much disappeared. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned.